Here we go, boys. Brob Preaches and PogChamps in the chat. The 3-day Dungeoneering grind comes to a close as we grab level 80. And floor 40 is now accessible. 19k Dungeoneering XP. If we leave, you can see we are level 80. It is done. And we have exactly 2 million XP. Which is kind of troll, because I think we're going to have to do one more floor to get the actual amount of tokens we need. It rounds down. Technically 2 mil XP is exactly enough for 200k tokens. But it looks like it, yeah. Dude, look, oh my god, we were one token away from 200k. What are the odds that we would have 199,999 tokens? That's actually hilarious. Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's Brobson here, and welcome to episode 4 of my RuneScape 3 Loot Deck series. If you don't know what this series is, click the link in the description to get to the playlist for this series, where you can start from episode 1 and get a full overview of the series, rules, objective, and more. Today's episode, as you can see from the intro clip, was centered around trying to get 80 Dungeoneering, but we took a pretty roundabout way of getting into Demonheim, and I did a lot of extra stuff that I didn't realize I had to do and didn't initially plan on doing before getting into Dungeoneering. So I'll do a little bit of stuff for setup, and then all of the Dungeoneering to get from 1 to 80 for our chaotic maul. Let's get right into it. Last episode we finished, I believe, with 57 Slayer and 68 attack, so we continued right on in the beginning of this episode with Slayer. I wanted to get all the way to level 60 Slayer, and in the process, as you can see, we got to 70 attack, and when we hit 60 Slayer, we were also very, very close to 71 attack. I believe we were at Werewolves, and we were about 5k away from 71 attack, so I figured we would just finish off 71 attack as well. So we got to 60 Slayer, 71 attack, and then I thought I was ready to go into Dungeoneering. But a few people from my Twitch chat actually pointed out that I wouldn't be able to do Dungeoneering nearly as effectively if I didn't have access to the Gatestone and Group Gatestone teleports inside of Demonheim, and to do that I realized I needed to be able to runecraft both Law and Cosmic runes, and then I also needed to have as high as 64 magic to use the Group Gatestone teleport spell inside of Demonheim. So I realized that it would be smarter and save us a lot of time in the long run to go ahead and get 54 runecrafting and then 64 magic before we started. And initially I thought about just rushing those two things as quickly as possible. I actually did for runecrafting. I just headed into the rune span and trained as efficiently as I could to get all the way up to level 54. For magic though, we went on a bit of a journey. I probably didn't need to do all these things just to get 64 magic, and it would have been a lot quicker to just train with lower tiered weapons and a little bit less accuracy. But I figured that I need to do all these side quests and side activities at some point anyway, and it just made sense to knock them out now that I had an opportunity and an actual reason to, so that I wouldn't have to worry about doing them and grinding them just to get them done for other requirements later. We were at 37 magic at the time that we got 54 runecrafting, so I just went back to the Berthorpe Troll Caves with the Mind Spike staff to get 40, and then I decided once we hit 40 magic, it was time to upgrade to an actual tier 40 weapon. There's a few different ways that I could have gone about that, a few different options for tier 40 magic weapons, but I decided to get 45 woodcutting, because 45 woodcutting is required to get bark, which you can turn into split bark wand and orb with the lady at the Wizard's Tower in Draenor. And that seemed like a good option because I need the woodcutting experience for Branches of Darkmire, and all the logs that I got banked can also go towards the fletching requirement for Branches of Darkmire so that I can get barrows done easier down the road. So we got 45 woodcutting, chopped 5 bark from the Haunted Woods, turned the 5 bark into a split bark wand and orb, and then continued on training magic over at the Polypore dungeon. Infested Axes at the Polypore dungeon, as far as I know, are one of the best low to mid-level magic training methods, and I decided that I was going to go straight from 40 to 60 with the split bark wand and orb at Infested Axes. I realized though that once I hit level 50, I still didn't have great accuracy and I wasn't killing them very quickly, so I wanted to upgrade to a tier 50 magic weapon. And I could have switched to the Slayer staff, which would have been an easier item to obtain, but again, I realized that I'm going to need to do Plague's End at some point and get access to Prifddinas, so I decided instead to do the quests required to get Underground Pass done, so that I could get the level 50 magic weapon, the Iban staff, from Underground Pass. That required me to get 25 ranged, so you can see the clip on screen right now of me just getting a 25 ranged as the prerequisite requirement for Underground Pass at the Berthorpe Troll Cave. Yet again, it's my clutch low-level training method for melee, ranged, and mage now on this account. And then I went in to do all the prerequisite quests for Underground Pass. There's only 2 of them. The first one was Plague City, and then the second one was Biohazard, so I knocked those 2 out in about a half an hour, and then we went straight on in to get ready for Underground Pass and went right into it. Underground Pass took us about an hour in total. It actually wasn't as frustrating as I thought. Even with a low agility level of only 29, we still only failed a couple times, and it really wasn't too bad to get through Underground Pass. So I was pretty happy to get that done in less time than I thought, pick up the Iban staff, and then head straight back into the Polypore dungeon to continue killing Infested Axes. As you can see, our accuracy was much better, almost every ability landed after upgrading the staff, so it ended up being a good use of time, and we went straight from level 50 to level 60 magic by continuing to kill the axes. Once I hit level 60 magic, I realized we could again upgrade our weapon to get better accuracy and damage to make the last little stint from 60 to 64 faster, so I decided to go to the mage arena in the wilderness and do the mage arena minigame, which rewards you with a level 60 staff and also a level 60 cloak for magic. And the magic cloak, the god cloak, is actually the best cape slot item you can use for magic all the way up until the fight kiln, which we won't be able to do for quite a long time. So we actually got our current best in slot magic cape, which was pretty cool, and we also got the Gothic staff to upgrade to tier 60 magic, again by going to the wilderness and doing the mage arena event and choosing the Gothic staff and Gothic's cloak as a reward. And then for the third and final time, we went back into the Polypore dungeon and continued killing infested axes from level 61 to 64 magic with our newly upgraded weapons. If you're getting tired of hearing me say infested axes in Polypore dungeon, just imagine how tired I was of killing them. It was quite a few hours and quite a few different stints here, but we did finish getting all the way up to level 64 magic, which was a requirement to use the group gatestone spell inside of Demonheim. So to recap, we wanted to go into Dungeoneering, but realized we first needed to get 54 rune crafting to craft law runes, and then get 64 magic, which required us to do 45 wood cutting, and then get a split bark weapon, and then get 50 magic, and then go back into other questing to get the underground pass quest done to get Ivan staff, and then go back to the infested axes until level 60, and then get the god staff and god cloak, and then go back to infested axes again to get to level 64, which was a requirement for us to start Dungeoneering. Jeez, it took a long time, but we did finally get it done, and once we hit level 64, we decided to head straight into Demonheim. There's not really too much to commentate in terms of Dungeoneering. It's obviously a pretty straightforward skill, and it's kind of secluded from the rest of the game. So I decided once we entered the Demonheim Peninsula that I wouldn't leave it until we had our chaotic maul. I did not leave. I just did nothing but Dungeoneering with no breaks from level 1 all the way up to level 80. I think it took us about 2 full stream days and then an hour into the 3rd stream day to actually hit level 80 from level 1, and I did the entire process solo. A couple people asked if I would do it in teams or if that was allowed for the series, but I just figured it'd be more fun to do solo. And also the seasonal started for medium solo C6 floors to see, you know, who could get the highest, the kind of seasonal high scores things for speed Dungeoneering. So I figured it'd be cool to test myself with medium floor times and see how well I could do. So we soloed all the way from level 1 to level 80 Dungeoneering, and as you can see from the clip at the beginning of the video, when we hit level 80 and exited Demonheim to check with the rewards tutor, we had 199,999 tokens. 200,000 is the number necessary to buy the chaotic, so we were 1 Dungeoneering token away, which is the equivalent of 10 Dungeoneering XP. So if I had gotten 10 more XP, which is literally like killing 1 extra mob in any floor on my way from 1 to 80, I would have been able to buy the maul after that floor. But amazingly, we were 1 token short, so I had to head back in, do a C1 rush real quick, and then come back out to buy my chaotic maul. Unfortunately, I didn't get as much attack XP as I was hoping inside of Demonheim. I did use melee only, but I only got from level 71 to 74 attack, so 3 attack levels wasn't as much as I was hoping for, and we are still a bit shy of being able to actually wield the chaotic, but I still feel really relieved to have it sitting in the bank. The Dungeoneering grind is always kind of daunting when you want to go straight to chaotics, so it's really good that we got that done. Even though we can't quite use the weapon yet, it's sitting in the bank, and it is instant motivation every time I open the bank for me to get the hell out there, kill some stuff, and get to level 80 attack as quickly as possible. So that'll obviously be the main objective of the next video, is to get 80 attack through Slayer as quickly as possible so that we can actually wield them all, and then as soon as we hit 80 attack and wield them all, we'll switch our experience through melee to strength only, and we will go from 40 to 70 strength so that we can gain access to Bandos, because the Bandos room does require 70 strength as a base requirement. So we'll get 80 attack through Slayer, switch our weapon to the maul, and then continue training Slayer with melee to get 70 strength. And then once we hit 70 strength, I think that's when we're going to get into actual loot deck series progress and start getting some drops knocked off quickly. My plan is to take the God Staff that I got this episode over to Barrows and train defense via magic at Barrows. Just do mage only Barrows runs and get defense XP for each brother kill, and try to get at least 1 melee body, legs, and helm from Barrows, and also get 70 defense in the process. I'm sure I'll get a couple extra pieces as well, but I'm hoping by the time I get 60 to 70 defense at Barrows, I'll get at least 1 melee helm, body, and legs, so that we have Barrows armor with a chaotic maul, and then I'll probably go to the Zami kill count room and kill imps to try and get War Priest, so I can have a Barrows helm, Barrows body, Barrows legs, and then Zamorak War Priest gloves, boots, and cape for the War Priest set effect, and then we'll have the chaotic maul as our weapon. That should be sufficient to get into Bandos. With all the money I've made from Slayer, I'm also going to quickly buy 68 summoning to get a War Tortoise and 70 prayer for piety, and we'll have to do a couple more quests and mini things to do piety and to unlock piety. but we will hopefully within the next episode or two have 80 attack, 70 strength, 70 defense, a hybrid between War Priest and Barrow's armor, a chaotic maul, and then access to a War Tortoise familiar and access to the Piety Prayer. And that is when we are going to start heading into Bandos and trying to get through as many bosses as quickly as possible. We'll try to get all the Bandos items that we can and at least get a full set of armor so that we can have a Chaotic Maul and full Bandos. Then we'll take that straight over to Vindicta at God Wars 2 and try to get a Dragon Rider Lance. And then pretty much from there, the world will be our oyster. Once we have the Dragon Rider Lance, we can kill most of the bosses in the game. We could try to start going early for, you know, some things like Noxious Weapons from Araxor, or we could just farm Vindicta for a while, make a lot of money, and get the rest of our prayer and summoning up so that we can get, you know, a War Tortoise up to a Pack Yak, and possibly from Piety all the way up to Soul Split and Turmoil, although that's going to require a lot more questing as well. So we'll just kind of play it by ear. I'm not exactly sure what path I'm going to take from there. But for right now, my main focus is getting the 80 attack to wield them all, then get 70 strength to be able to access Bandos. So that is what we are going to work on moving forward. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's episode. I really hope that you enjoyed it. As with every other episode, as soon as this video gets 100 likes, the next episode will be uploaded. So if you guys do enjoy this series and did enjoy this video, make sure you tap the like button so that we can get to 100 quickly and I can get the next episode out, hopefully by tomorrow. If you have any feedback, make sure you leave it in the comments down below. I am continuously trying to change around the format of this series to make it more enjoyable to watch, and it's still pretty early on in the series. This is probably going to be ongoing for a year or two, so make sure you let me know what you think in the comment section down below and help me to make these videos better moving forward. Thank you so much for watching, thank you for the support, and I hope to see you guys all in the next video.